Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. And it's a great day. And we have the Pirate Broadcast, a few interesting people talking about interesting things. And I just want to thank you for everyone that joins in the Pirate Broadcast and actually has a moment of their day taken out and join in the conversation, drop some comments in the messages. And I know it's challenging for all of us right now. And I just want to thank you. And I send out kind thoughts and just applaud the efforts of everyone around us that are doing work on this. So, and today we have Caren Cooper. How are you, Caren?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Hanging in there.
It's been an interesting, challenging time. So, I mean, you're safe and sane and healthy, and everything else is going well for you.
Well, sane is, could be relative to, no, I'm kidding. But, thankfully, yes, I'm healthy. My kids are healthy. My family is healthy. We are safe. We're in Staten Island, New York. So almost sort of the epicenter of all the craziness. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly been, interesting. I mean, my daughter is a freshman in college, but she's not at college anymore. And my son's in 8th grade. And so he's missing out on some, senior activities, which I know in the grand scheme of things isn't that, but still, I mean, he should be enjoying things and he's not necessarily. So
Yeah.
It's been interesting.
Yeah. Well, we're all going through this together, and hopefully that there'll be some shared experiences that we can talk about in history, right?
Yes.
As we get through this and past this. And I really think it's, we're talking a lot about resiliency, being able to adapt and go through this. And I think it's important for us to understand some of the basics of what that looks like. And you have had a history in your career and your work experiences being, a data analyst and looking at numbers and things like that. And so, I want to talk a little bit about that. And more than that, I want to talk about how you got to where you are today in terms of LinkedIn and your journey and, what you're doing now and what you're focusing your attention on to stay safe and sane.
Okay. That's that. I'm good with all of that. I keep it real. I mean, that's just how I am. I keep it real.
Well, you're a New Yorker, right?
Yeah. Brooklyn, New York, born and bred. I live in Staten Island, like I said. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of in the blood, if you will. Like it's just, we're resilient. We kind of, we get knocked down, we get back up again. I mean, I always quote that song, but it's really very true. I mean, in life in general, I've done different variations. I've been in advertising for quite some time and different variations of advertising. And, I think being in the advertising industry, you have to be a little bit off. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all, because I like nurses, teachers, I think it takes a special kind of person to do what they do, whatever it is that they may do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, so I've had different incarnations of my career and different chapters have closed, different chapters have opened, and I've had to adapt, if you will, to them.
Yes. Yes.
So it's been,
there's a lot of people right now that are adapting. They are, a lot of people are out of work right now because, restaurants are closed down, facilities are closed down. There's a lot of things that are taking place. So, rather than panic about it, I know that, a lot of people are looking at acquiring new skills, looking at new opportunities and making adjustments in their life. Is that something that you've gone through, you've had to go through and are still continuing to go through?
I'm still continuing to go through it actually, to be honest with you. And I actually talk about this because I have I know you didn't ask about it, but I for 4.5 years I've done a side health and wellness business. And I'm
Mhm.
not like trying to throw it in people's faces or anything now or anything like that. But I always talked about when I talked about it, like having a plan B and stuff like that. And so now like the world has ended, you know, and it's like there's 6 million. I read this morning, it's about 6 million have filed for unemployment,
Mhm.
and we're all going through this together, and I think that's partly why we can kind of keep the faith even if you haven't put in the work with personal development. Knowing that you're not alone in this, I think, is very important. I mean, is it great that 6 million have filed for unemployment? No, but think about it this way: you're not alone. We're all trying to figure something out, so why not use this time to say, and I even posted about this today, about disconnecting. Use this time to be like, okay, what is it that I really want to do?
Yeah.
What is it that I really want to be? Who do I really want to surround myself with? And I hate to use the word because I always think of the Friends episode, but pivot. You know what I mean? It's like, how do I want to pivot? Because I think a lot of us are, we're kind of going through life doing something that we thought we should be doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And now I know it's a pandemic. I mean, I don't want to get the whole, you're living in Pollyanna world, like my daughter says, because I understand what's going on in the world. It's not that I
Yeah,
don't, but I
absolutely.
also think it's the universe almost saying, or however you want to say it, like press pause. Pre-
Yeah.
we're given this opportunity. And we all have 24 hours in the day. What exactly are we going to do with it? Really?
And how do we wanna spend our time? Like you
Exactly.
said, there's a lot of, in fact, I was just talking about this yesterday, and the fact that, sometimes our self-awareness is so clouded because we are doing things that we think we should be doing, when in reality, it's not bringing us joy, it's not bringing us happiness, it's not bringing us anything. Sometimes
Right.
it's not even bringing us, a living, right?
Right.
A
Exactly.
and so we have to have this, like you said, put it on pause, take a moment, and actually reflect on what it is we really need to do for ourselves and our families and our people and friends around us,
Right. Right.
so have you had conversations with your family around this? And
I
you know,
have.
what are some exercises or thoughts that you've gone through that, could be beneficial for the pirate
I've
community?
actually asked my husband because my husband actually was affected um, by this. And I'm like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? I mean, even though he's 50, I'm giving away his age, but I don't care.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, and he's like, well, a job is a job. And I'm like, well, no, that's not necessarily true. So I'm like, write pros and cons, like write things that you like. Like I was like, write down things that you like to do. I read a lot. I do a lot of personal development podcasts, motivational videos, inspirational videos, stuff like that. A
Uh-huh.
teammate of mine, actually every day at 10 a.m., she does a gratitude call. It's open to like everybody, not just
Mm,
people in the health and wellness business that we do. And it's amazing. Like I've been going on that call every morning at 10, obviously not today, but normally. And she just posts videos by Les Brown and different Inky Jones, I think his name is Johnson,
mm,
and all these other kind of things. And we just kind of talk about what we've gotten out of those videos. And she also posts funny parodies and things like that. So those are things that I've been doing. And I also say focus on the good. Like I actually created a Facebook group called No Corona for You because I was tired of scrolling through all the doom and gloom on
right.
Facebook, and people have commented and said to me how they were enjoying my content. So I was like, let's have a place of escape because people need to laugh. People need to and still enjoy life, even though I know people are affected. Listen, I know people who had it, and I know people have passed from it. So it's not as though I'm not personally affected by this in a way, but at the same time, you can't focus on the doom and gloom of it all. You just can't. And and that's part of the things that what I tell my kids. And my kids have been, you know, I've been learning from them. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, my son's been playing Fortnite and I don't monitor his screen time. That's another thing I've been doing is just sort of surrendering and letting it be. And he's at
Mhm.
least communicating with his friends in some way, right?
Yeah,
And he's still getting enjoyment of being 14 and doing something he enjoys and being with his friends. And my daughter's sorority has been doing Zoom calls. So all of that combined is how we've sort of attempted to stay sane in all of
yeah.
this.
Well, I think especially companies and I think, all of us are evolving to adjust and make adjustments in our
Right.
lives around Zoom, around, doing live broadcasts, doing, Facebook lives and communicating in a different way. And it's really, I think we need to put a pause on, listening to the news as much as we
Yeah.
do, the doom and the gloom, and listen to the train wreck and, the sky is falling kind of activity, because it doesn't help us. It
No.
doesn't add value to what we're doing. It doesn't add and enhance our ability to learn a skill, or, stay positive and really reach out and make connections,
Right.
because it's really something that we have to focus our time and attention on, and stay positive.
Right.
It's not, and so I think, like your daughter, in college in Zoom, it's like that's not necessarily how this thing started out. It's like, okay, and and I don't know where it's going to end, and I don't know how long it's going to last.
Right.
However, I love what you said to your husband. What do you want to be when you grow up? And I have to say, your kids are probably doing the same thing. It's like, well, what do I want to do? How do I want to help?
Yeah. I mean, I've had the conversations, with my son. He's starting high school in the fall, and he applied to 2 high schools, one of which
Mhm.
we was on for, one of which my daughter went to, actually. And he actually got into the one my daughter went to, and I was like, well, what do you want to do? Like, it wasn't about me. It's about him making the decision of what he wants and why. And a friend of mine was like, let's write pros and cons. And I actually use that, like writing pros and cons. And I think that's perfect for anything at this point. You write the pros and cons, and you see how many pros you have, how many cons you have, and things like that. And even the other day, I posted about just we all coming up with different ways to be scrappy and do different things and figure out different ways to do things. And I honestly think, as crazy as this sounds, we'll come out of this even better, because you know what? You never had time to do something for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
now all you have is time. You know what I mean? I get that people are working. I understand people are working still, at home and things like that. But, there's no commuting. A lot of us are,
Yeah.
are working from home. So that time that you would be using commuting, yeah, it's wonderful to sleep in, but why not still use that time for something else? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not? I mean, really, why not?
Yeah. Why not? Why not? I, and for myself, I've been working remotely on and off for the last 10 years, and my life inherently, because I'm a caregiver and I help my folks here, and my sister and I work together, and we have a business, and we do, media and broadcasting,
Right.
and all of these things. Our life has, in fact, I've been busier now than ever before, and I have the opposite challenge. I have to make sure that I take breaks and
Hmm.
slow down and things like that. And it's not, and it seems kind of odd, because we don't go out, because we can't go to the movies.
Right.
We can't just go to the shopping. Grocery stores are planned events, now, and so our life has changed, and we're still busy.
Hmm.
And I'm still thinking, man, I love the opportunity to learn something new. In fact,
Hmm.
I'm in a course right now to improve my photography skills. Learn how to, because I want to take pictures of my folks, and
Yeah.
collect some memories and things like that. And it's just some of those things that you think about. Take advantage of these. Take advantage of this time. Take advantage of the moment to learn something. So
And
what's the skill that you are looking to accomplish and
I'm
improve on?
actually looking to, oddly, right now, my social media game, to be honest with you. Um, you
That's the
know,
thing?
well, how to really, social media is part of it. And I really also, I'm trying to be a better person. As I know that sounds slightly ridiculous, but honestly, I'm just trying to really, um, be a bit, just be a better human. and stuff like that, like Excel and stuff like that. Like that's something that I get enjoyment of. So I was like, okay, what do I like to do? I like helping people. I like, networking with people. I like talking with people. So these are
Mhm.
things that I like to do. So how do I optimize my social media to do that? You know what I mean? Use it for the greater good. So that's what I've been doing, stuff like that. And there's so many people offering, free classes and things like that now because of it. I've been networking a lot more and just talking to people and trying to help people in their businesses and stuff like that, just collaborate, which I've
Yeah.
always been about, but I've been doing a lot more of that. Um, and I joined Todd Falcone. He's a big network marketing guru, and I joined his A team, which starts next week. To better my health and wellness business also. So all of those things are things that and Rachel Hollis is doing something the next 90-day challenge. They're calling it the Hollis Company, and it's
Yeah.
just about finding joy and different perspective. And every week they have sort of a challenge going on of finding joy in one week, your perspective in another week, and just pivoting how you look at things and how you perceive things and things like that. So those are all the things that I've been doing to better me.
Self-improvement is
Yeah.
I don't think you can ever stop that. I mean, a lifelong learner. I've always been a lifelong learner, and I love the opportunity to see things from another perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole point of the Pirate broadcast is I want to talk to interesting people doing interesting things. You reached out to me and you said, we started an online conversation. This is the first time we saw each other, and the whole point is that I'm open to the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to have these conversations, and I think it enhances and expands the way we think about things, and I just love having these conversations. And social media is a thing, and I make light of it because I've been in social media for so long, and it's like that's a thing. It's like, yeah, this internet might catch on.
Right, exactly. Exactly. I'm toying with TikTok because my kids are obsessed with it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I should maybe try it. And just if nothing else to torture them and what I mean, if nothing else.
Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to some of the people in the room. Wendy, hello, pirates. These are all wonderful, supportive individuals that are here. Maureen, thank you so much. Hi, Caren. She says,
Hello.
accepting our new reality. Vicky O'Neill, good morning. How are you? It's wonderful to have you as always. Being flexible and looking for ways to celebrate small things. I love that, Wendy. Thank you for sharing that. Lori Knutson, good morning. And Caren, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to have a meeting, but I wanted to say hi. Angie's, I know she's working from home. Sherry Lolly, good morning, Caren and Russ. And if you're not connected with Caren, you need to get that corrected here quickly.
Yes, you
So,
do.
David, good morning. How are you? I hope you're well. Arcot, good evening. I know it's the end of your day, so thank you for joining us before you take off. And Gabriel, good morning, fellow pirates. Yes, I love to do it. David Mumber says, I have started to do my normal routine so I don't get
Yeah.
too much. Yeah, so you don't get depressed. And please, I know that depression is a real thing, and I've encouraged so many of you to, stay in contact and reach out. Tapas, good morning. Um, Lindy Chapman, hey, Caren Cooper. So, as part of the pirate broadcast and part of the stream, some of the things we have to do is it's a community. We can actually
Yeah.
stay up there, so we can actually. Here's Gabriel. So, good morning, Caren and
Hey,
Russ.
good
Do you know
morning.
Gabriel, Caren?
Actually, I know of him. We've never actually spoken.
Okay, he's a great one. No notification on LinkedIn. Arcot, that I know that LinkedIn is challenged, so let's do it. Live on Facebook, not on LinkedIn. Dang. So thank you for being here. I just wanted to give a shout out to everybody that's joining in right now, and I know that it'll evolve. And if you're watching the replay, just step on the replay and just watch it. And you can always watch it at russjohns.com and subscribe to the YouTube channel, the podcast, and all of the social channels that you can. So I love growing the community, and I love supporting each other and helping those that are out there at this time in history. So Caren, is there any epiphanies? Is there anything that has really kind of stopped you and made you think about, wow, I hadn't thought of that before, as you're going through this social media evolution and, discovering how to make connections and having conversations?
Yeah, there have been a few. But one of them was I did a training 2 days ago. The days of melding, it's like bad, but two
Yeah.
days ago, I did a training, and one of the people was saying just about how, and I've always sort of, like I said, I've always sort of been there for people, listening to people, but he's like, people want to hear that you understand what they're going through. And that was like a huge, like, aha moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was one of them, because it's like, it's like true, all of us who have businesses and are trying to sell something or whatever it may be, we sort of sometimes come from the place of, you should get this because, or this
Yeah.
is the problem I'm solving, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, when he said that, I was like, interesting. I do try to relate to people and stuff like that, but I don't think I've been as good as I could have been doing it. So that was a huge, huge moment for me, of
Right.
just, I hear what you're going through. I've been there. I understand. Almost putting yourself out there. I mean, I keep it real and stuff like that normally, but
Mhm.
I was like, I think to be a little bit more open and honest
Yeah.
is not going to hurt anybody. That was a huge one for me. And then the other one for me, when I talked about that 10 o'clock call, she played a Simon Sinek video, who I love him. And he
Mm-hmm.
was just talking about how it's an infinite game. So in business, people talk about being number one, but what is really number one? And who said, like, who did, that's the title of my book, by the way. I've decided who said is going
Be
to be the
your
name of my
own
book.
number one.
Right. And it was like, he's like, it's an infinite game. It's like, we want to be better than ourselves. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's like, there's no finite point that you get to that you say, okay, now I'm
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute.
I just
And
need to improve the person I was yesterday.
exactly. And
Yeah.
you always think of it, but when somebody else says it, that's why I like the whole self-improvement, listening to podcasts, and even engaging on LinkedIn and whatever. Like, I love that, because I love the different perspectives. Because listen, I don't pretend to know it all. I tell my kid, and I even say that sentence to my kids all the time, because they're 18 and 14. So of course they know everything. And they don't need to learn anything else. And I kind of, I'm like, you're always forever growing, and you're always forever learning something, no matter
Yeah.
what. And that took me a long time to even realize for myself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So those were big aha moments. And I've had those in the last few days. Huge,
Yeah.
huge moments.
And I think another trend that I'm seeing is people are realizing that they don't need to be a victim.
Right.
They have control over their future. They have control over what they're doing in their life. And although it may not necessarily be exactly what they planned or anticipated or imagined, it is something that they do have control over. There's more
Right.
control, and there's all these kind of there's always going to be a spectrum of
Of course.
and a range of opinions about a subject. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, this is all, one
Right.
way. And if you're not, it's que sera, sera.
Right. Exactly.
And it's somewhere in between is your reality.
Mm-hmm.
And your reality is the one that you need to live with and adjust to and become, acquainted with. So
Exactly.
I love the idea of, the self-improvement. I love the idea that you can actually, an empathy, what we're
Yeah.
talking about really is empathy towards what others are going through. And everybody handles things a little differently than the rest of us, you
Yes.
know?
Very
And
much so.
So as this thing goes along, I mean, I'm sure you're kind of like in the middle of it, and
Yeah.
it sounds as if things are, flattening out a little bit. However, we still have a long road to go.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I don't know. What's your
I
thought?
I listen, I hate to say this, but my son, like neither one of my kids are going back to school until September or August for my
Mhm.
daughter. But I hate to say it, but I know that. And you know, and and you know what, I don't want to say they're okay with it, but they've realized that that's a very good possibility. And what I said, like, even I was talking to a neighbor of mine, there's a lot of kids in my neighborhood who are graduating and go to the same school my son does. So we were like, okay, we'll do a social distancing, graduation for everybody. We're coming up with different ways to sort of celebrate things,
Yeah,
if you will. And the way I feel, my hope, and I've said this a couple of times, I don't know how long this is going to be. I truly hope that by September, the kids can be back in school and living semi, and we can go out and about, you know what I mean, and not have to wear masks and things like that. But I just hope that once we do go back to whatever normal it is, Dave Hollis had a quote about going back to normal. He's like, be careful of what normal you want to go back to. I'm
yeah,
paraphrasing it, which
exactly.
I thought was very interesting. My hope is that we don't get complacent. I feel like every time we have some sort of moment in history, if you will, like 9/11 or like now, we all kind of come together for the greater good, and we do good for others and whatnot, right? And the community comes together and all those kind of things, and then everything gets back to the way it was before the incident, we'll call it, I guess, if you will, happen, and then we get complacent. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And I truly hope that that doesn't happen this time. I truly hope that this kind of sheds light on a lot of things. And I'm not a political person. I don't want to get political, but I hope it just sheds light on a lot of things and that changes are made for the greater good. That's what I
yeah,
honestly really hope from, all the way up till down. I really do hope that. And I try to, you know, tell my kids that. I mean, my son plays baseball. I got him a tee and a net so he can still be in fighting form. But I'm like, that's a privilege. It really is. Like,
yeah,
I'm really starting to realize that, how good we have it. That's the other thing. You don't realize how good you actually have it until, or you do, but you don't maybe pay attention to it. And I think it's very important for us
yeah,
to realize how good we have it and to stop complaining about every little thing. To your point earlier
yeah,
about the victim, you know what? 6 million people have filed for unemployment. It may not cover in anything, but thank God there is something called unemployment that we can get, as
yeah,
ridiculous as that sounds. So
yeah.
it's just sort of, I really hope that we
Bring
start
it
looking at
back
things
into
different.
perspective, right?
I hope so.
Yeah,
That's honest to God, my hope, because it's just, it's we all do. And you know what? I was, admittedly, even though I do personal development and everything, I was one of those. I mean, my son can travel baseball. I was working in corporate America and, having a side business. And I was just like all over the place. And as much as I was appreciating and having gratitude for it, I was like, okay, I need a minute. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you get to that point.
yeah. Can I just take a nap right now?
I was like, God, fine, just need a minute,
Yeah,
and so I hope that we don't, yes, we need a minute. Of course we do, to recalibrate and stuff, but we realize that, there is a lot of good. There is a
we
lot of
do
good.
have an opportunity to change our normal.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Angie put out two things we can control: our attitude and our effort.
exactly.
Rachel Hollis, next 90 days. So, it's really fascinating to me to have conversations like this, Caren, and I do appreciate the fact that you're here. And I thank you so much for reaching out. And I just really want, more than anything, for people to realize that you can make a difference.
Yeah.
You do make a difference. And it may not be a global impact that we're all making. However, we make an impact to the people that we care about, that care about us. And so stay in the conversation,
Yes.
stay involved in the
And
activities. Even if we can't be face to face, we can be, having conversations.
Right.
So,
And if I just may add, if you don't mind, for just a second, because you said at the beginning, like, about kindness, and you and I have talked about kindness and everything. And there's a lot of people on LinkedIn who talk about kindness and everything. And just one thing, and I've said this numerous times, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. You have no idea what people are going through. They may be projecting, smile and happy and peppy, mercy and love, but you don't know what's going on. And a simple hi, how are you? Or a simple have a nice day, or even, and I know we're on social media now, but a simple of how are you holding up during all this insanity,
yeah,
message to somebody could mean the world. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was just like, I really enjoyed this conversation, and if you need anything, I'd be more than happy to hear you and listen to you. And she was just so appreciative of that. And it's just a
yeah,
matter of, just kindness does really matter. It really does. Even if you can't see people face to face, even if you can't do it face to face, it really seriously is important.
it
Sorry,
is
I just
important. So thank you, Caren. I really appreciate you. All the gratitude in the world for you being here and taking the time out of your day to join us and talk about this important subject. And I think it's, and as everybody knows me, it's like kindness is cool,
Mhm.
smiles are free, and you enjoy the day.
And I thank you so much for having me, and being open to me, sort of, being like, hey, let's get on together. And I appreciate you taking the time to have me on today. It is amazing. It was really amazing, and you're pretty awesome. So thank you.
Thank you, Caren. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Have a fabulous day, everyone. Take care.
Enjoy.
Till tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.